All right, here we go. Let's get into it. We'll start off with a recap of the Genesis Open. I didn't get to watch a ton on Sunday. I was teaching juniors all day long. I did watch the recap of Hideki's final round on Sunday, and my goodness, that was insane.
Yeah, those two back-to-back shots that he had on the back, putting it to like 6 inches on both was. I mean, they were identical shots almost.
Yeah,
Uh,
15, 16 shots were, like you said, almost identical, and he didn't look pleased with either. Like after each shot, he looked
and
like,
that's how he is. Yeah, and that's how he
yeah.
is. There's so many times like down the stretch, like of tournaments where he, thinks that he completely just shanked one, and it's then he puts it to 10 feet. It's like, all right.
Yeah, no, and his scorecard was legendary too. I mean, it went started birdie, 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 seven straight pars, birdie, 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 two pars, and birdie, birdie, birdie again, three times with three straight birdies is pretty unbelievable. Uh, Thoughts elsewhere from the week? Zalatoris bounce back week for him after the injury last week, kind of showing that he can still swing it, and he's still here to just like he was when he was really first coming on tour. That was nice to see. Uh, what else did y'all like out there this week? Slash not like
Yeah,
Pretty
I mean,
emotional week.
definitely emotional week for sure. Uh, yeah,
for Tiger.
Well,
well, I
I
guess for
was
a
getting,
number
I
of
was
reasons.
actually being serious. Will Zalatoris had a pretty emotional week,
Yeah.
with
Oh yeah, he did.
and then the hole in one was pretty sweet to cap
Yeah,
on
that
there.
was
Uh,
awesome.
and then yes, the other emotions of Spieth and Tiger, which we said we'll get into. Uh, just a lot of stuff. Hideki being Hideki, just being irrelevant, and then all of a sudden being really relevant in a day or two. I do think because of the wishy-washiness of like he thinks he shanks it, does good. That's why he can't be consistently good because it just seems to me he never knows if he's playing well or not, and because of that, he has like no confidence or too much confidence. I don't know. It's a weird. I think he's got some psychological issues.
Well, I mean, for me with him, his short game's phenomenal. Like if you get a wedge in his hand, he's gonna do something special, and he's done it over the past few weeks. I mean, he chipped in twice early on. I think it was at the Amex. Chipped in twice on his front nine. Makes this second birdie of the day with the wedge, and makes that really the great shot on that par five when he hits over the green. I mean, I think it's when he can get the putter hot with his really good short game. He's going to make a bunch of birdies. He's going to get up and down. So I think anytime Hideki can really get hot and start playing like that, he's dangerous, and he can come back from anywhere, as we saw.
I kind
Yeah,
of want to
there.
know what happened to JT this week, honestly. Like, I thought he was really striding back towards being himself and being somebody that's always going to be in, like, at least top 20 contention. And then he just went right back down to dog shit. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's what it was.
I kind of put it back to what somebody was saying the other week. I mean, I feel like you could definitely put too much pressure on yourself. This is Tiger's event. This is one that he probably really wants to win. Everybody loves Riviera, and obviously winning there, you put yourself up as a pretty high name, gives you some confidence. But again, he's paired with Tiger for his first two rounds. He goes out there, doesn't have a great week. I think that can play a little bit into how he plays, knowing JT.
Yeah, in the words of Olivia Rodrigo's first album, Sour, it was just one step forward and three steps back. It just seemed to be.
And
Really.
that's kind of how it's tended to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think
yeah,
you made a good point there, though, in terms of like who you're playing with. If they're playing well, like typically, everyone else in the group like kind of feeds off of that, and vice versa.
yeah,
I
for
think
sure,
that happens quite a bit, week in and week out.
100%. Something pretty cool to watch, especially if you just go watch the recap of Hideki's round. But what he does with his putter right before he putts, you'll see him on those worm eye views. He kind of bobs it up and down just a little bit, kind of taps it on that ground, just to get everything nice and loose and relaxed. And his speed control is so good, and I think that has so much to do with it.
Speaking of putter, I mean Zalatoris' putter looks definitely way more improved than what it was in past years. Um,
Who?
Zalatoris,
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
that
for
will.
going to the broomstick is definitely different. But I mean, he had some troubles the past couple of years. Like it was hard to watch.
Very hard to watch. I mean, God, it's not saying much. I feel like that it looks better. I think the off season, especially with the back injury, probably only had the putter in the hands for a while, and had some time. Maybe that's the silver lining. I'm not sure what his training program was like. But when you're going through that, putter's the first thing you get back, and I'm sure he was grinding on it.
I'm not a I'm like a full knower on this, but I'm pretty sure with the lab you're supposed to have the face, like the bottom of the face, flat on the ground, right? He
You're
could.
the lab putter guy.
Yes, Garrett, what kind of putter do you use?
I use lab putter. I
Okay.
pulled the Scotty out the other day though.
Did you?
Anyways though, I was watching his outdoors putt. He couldn't even do that right. Like he had the heel lifted up off the ground. I was like, you're defeating the purpose of the putter. Like it's supposed to be
Yeah.
fully balanced and fully set on the ground, no pressure or anything. And he's fucking it up.
I wonder if
Like,
he was
he's-
fit for that, Garrett.
Kind of going through
No,
an
he
emotional
probably just asked somebody to make it for him. He didn't even know if it worked or not.
Is that what he used this week? I didn't get to much watch at all.
Yeah, he used the broomstick Mesmax Blackhead.
I do like the
Like,
Mez. I do like the Mez better than the Ace of Spade. Whatever.
You don't
it
like
is.
the can opener? God, that's disrespectful.
Don't love the can opener. All right. Any other thoughts? I know we haven't quite talked about Tiger yet. I was kind of surprised to see that it was the illness that took him out. Hearing that he had back spasms all day before. I don't know if it could have been both, or maybe it was just an illness. Hopefully, it was just the illness, because I'd like to see him back again this year. Never a good sign seeing him WD after round 2.
I don't know. It's getting sad. It's like watching Shaq on the Celtics. Like I think it's just time to hang it up. Like I wish it wasn't. Like I for a while I thought he'll play this year and next year a few events, and then he'll go play on the Champions Tour. But I don't think that's even feasible anymore, honestly. Like he just does
Well, I
not
mean,
have the health.
he'd have a cart, I think that would help. And they've
If
done
he
that
would
on
take
tour. They've done that, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's where it comes to a point too. It's like, all right, do you want to take a cart or do you want to not play golf anymore? If that's what it was, again, maybe it was just an illness. Like maybe
Yeah.
he just had the flu. Because I didn't think the game looked horrible. I mean, especially the first time back in forever. I think, where he was, he would have made the cut, I believe, with where he was at. Yeah.
He would have been close. I mean, before Saturday he was even, right? And then he obviously felt like shit on Saturday and WD'd and was 2 or 3 over.
Well, if he was playing Saturday, he made the cut. So
Or sorry, Friday. I meant to say
Friday, yeah. So who knows? The next time we'll see him, if we do, is in April, and we'll just have to wait and see.
I do think the only pro of all that happened to Tiger is it really does shed light that golf is not a sport that can be rigged. Like, the NFL scrutinized, because as a
True.
marketing thing, I can't help that TaylorMade was just wanting to blow their brains out, because I'm sure they had a full lineup of outfits just like pumped for this.
Two
They
more.
got-
I mean, we didn't even get to see the Sunday
Didn't see
Red.
Sunday Red. I
Yeah.
can't imagine the conference room when he WDs. I can't imagine. So I just feel like as an entertainment company, it can't be rigged, because if it was rigged, you're going to find a way to keep Tiger to make
That
the
would
cut
have been-
or that-
yeah.
But and you're not going to DQ Jordan Spieth. We'll get into that.
Oh boy,
Travesty.
yeah, we didn't even get into that.
The next time we might see the Sunday Red, to your point, is at the Masters for the first time. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get one of these again on.
Maybe that would be. I would take that trade off for sure. That is what everybody else, I imagine. Jordan Spieth DQ'd after signing the wrong score. Hate to see it. You hate to see it. Somebody, I think Zach made a good point. I mean, fine him. Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, I mean, he was T9 when he got DQ'd, right? And Spieth, with where he's been going in, I mean, you never know with him, especially if the short game gets hot. If say Hideki has the same day, I don't think he would have caught him. But I mean, Cantlay completely shit the bed, shooting one over on the final round, and everybody else was kind of at 12 under. I think he probably could have caught that. That definitely held that top 10, or could have bettered on that for sure. So hate to see it, but again, that's a mistake that you kind of can't make too, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it is what it is.
I don't.
Sucks.
I think it's the dumbest thing in the world.
I think yeah.
I feel like Rory McIlroy just random name coming out of my head right now. Rory McIlroy, I feel like breaks a rule every single round he's ever played. Breaking a rule, breaks a rule. Whether the rule, it doesn't matter. Loses a stroke or two. Jordan Spieth breaks a rule, gets DQ'd. I just think, I mean, it's an entertainment company. You're in competition with, all these other industries right now. Like, you want to keep viewership up. Getting rid of Jordan Spieth doesn't do that. I think at the end of the day, it's almost just kind of one of those, like, you got people on their typewriters, they don't want to get the computer. Okay, you got to move with the times. Everyone saw every shot the dude ever made. You can't cheat.
That's true.
Right? It's not Major League Baseball. We just give out records to guys who blatantly behind closed doors roided it up. Now I'm all 100% for that. Give Barry Bonds' stuff. That being said, those guys, I mean, that was like blatant behind your back. I mean, this is like just an honest mistake. You can't DQ him. He is golf. Jordan Spieth is golf.
And I know that's a good point, though. Like, that's a good point. Like, that course does have shot links, so every single shot is literally tracked. So, yeah, I mean, maybe for the shot link events, at least, And again, you don't see it happen very often. So,
in addition to the shot link, though, do they have someone that is walking with each group, keeping score too? Or is that?
I don't know that.
I mean, I know they have their walking scorekeepers. Yeah, like there's the person he's the, volunteer or whatever. He walks with them and does all the scoring, and I'm sure that they have more people doing that as well.
When's the last time someone won because they cheated on their scorecard? When's the last time like that happened where it didn't get caught and someone did that? I'd love to know that answer.
It's a great question. But
maybe never.
But then there's also
30s.
I feel like there's been times where people, approach the ball or whatever. Like, I mean, Hideki almost had that similar issue or whatever on Sunday where he approached the ball and it moved, but it then settled right back in the same spot. Like, I'm sure there's been other times, like after the event, where they're going back looking at footage and stuff, and they come out and say, like, hey, this happened. We're assessing you a stroke. Like,
right. If anything, it should be a 2-shot penalty, right?
Yeah.
Like you're telling me that Jordan Spieth signing for a wrong card is worse than Phil Mickelson not wanting to see his ball roll down the hill and just walk up and hit it? Yeah. And that, only that's a 2-stroke penalty, but Jordan, we're gonna DQ for missigned scorecard?
I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I just play golf for fun, so I don't know about how the tournament stuff and professional stuff goes when it comes to playing in it. But, I mean, what do? You do your card, and basically you send it in, and someone checks it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you show up to your scoring tent, because you're keeping the other guy's score, so y'all are supposed to compare cards, and that's probably what most likely happened is the guy wrote down a wrong score for Jordan, and Jordan had his sheet and just blew through it and signed it, and it was wrong. And then but that's the thing is if he would have signed it and they would have seen that, they would already know that it's wrong.
Well, that's the thing though. We're talking about a 30-year-old man. It's his job to check his work.
It's his job to check the scorecard.
I understand it's a stupid rule. I get it. But since he was 10 years old playing in golf tournaments, this is the procedure every single time. You go in, you check your score, you sign it, say, yep, that is 100% right. They watch you do it, you give it to him, then they write it in. He knows better.
That's true.
Than to do it. I get it's stupid, but
it's a stupid mistake.
Do it. Yeah. He should be smart enough to know.
So we started using Scantrons years ago.
Was it wrong on both ends? Like, did he score his correctly and his partner or playing partner scored it incorrectly?
I don't know the details.
He signs that one, or he signs both technically, but
you do. I just know that he signed it, walked out, and then walked right back in and said, "Hey, this is wrong." But at that point, again, it's too late.
Once you leave, you're done.
Seems like a tactic to take out someone you're trying to play against. Just see if they don't catch it and get them DQ'd.
I think Jordan has issues scoring though.
Yes.
I read a tweet from last year, I think, that said he panic writes scores down. Like one time him and Max were playing together, he wrote 17 scores in for both of them on the 18th hole.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think
blacks
he has a history
out there.
Yeah, I did read that there's a ton of anxiety around that. Like golfers get so much anxiety doing their scoring at the end.
Well, yeah, because especially in that kind of pressure, like if you're down the stretch at a major, like you're just trying to focus on your game, let alone what the other guy's shooting, unless he's in contention with you. But even at that point, it's like you get so Like people talk about getting in that flow state when you're just going off, and it's like people are like literally you black out, like they don't even really remember what happened.
Put it on the
Try
calendar.
grading middle school homework. So.
Yeah. All right, 15 minutes in. Let's
Uh,
jump into the weekly preview at the Mexico Open. We are playing at Vedante Vallarta. It's a long one, 74.56, 7,456 yards off the tee. Rough's grown up a little bit, pretty thick, I think 2.5 inches. It's going to help protect it a little bit. Large greens, but again, it yields the longest proximity to the hole on the approach shot. Scoring average is 70.09 on a par 71. So let's get into it a little bit here. Who we liking this week? What are we seeing?
I mean, obviously, you go straight to Tony Finau at the top. He's had success here. Can he do it again? His putter has been kind of iffy this year. So we'll see if he, can come out and, I mean, you got to be long off the tee, which he is, which is great. But can he, get that putter going to get up? I mean, scores in the past years have been, over 20 at the end. So you definitely have to score.
Yeah, and I think reading about it, third event here on tour, he's gone T2 and then he won it. So great history. Definitely is going to have some confidence. But again, kind of his Achilles heel this year has been the putter, and hasn't been great. It's been good at times, but that's the one thing that's kind of shaky. They are usually rolling at a 12 here. They're rolling at 11 this week, so a little bit slower greens. Maybe that helps him out. Definitely see him playing well here again. I mean, no reasons of why he wouldn't. We'll see what happens.
I don't think he has it in him.
No?
Just not feeling it. I think this is a big week for Keith Mitchell. I think obviously this is not a big tournament, but I think this is a win he needs to get under his belt. I think he's somebody that a lot of people want to put in their conversations that he's going to contend for majors, but he's not to that point yet. Like he hasn't gone the full length. Like he plays well. He's played well most of the year, but I think everybody wants to see a little bit more from him. I think this is a good week too. It is a weaker field. Like I think he needs to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for him to pop off. I mean, he'll show spurts. I think the last time I remember him winning was at the Honda Classic 2 years ago, I want to say. That's coming next week. So this is kind of around the time of year where you start to see him play well. He's from the East Coast, going into the East Coast swing. And he's really good at those approach shots outside 200. So I think this course really is going to suit his game, and definitely could see him playing well. I think if Tony doesn't show up and do what he's been doing, his scoring average here has been 64 over 10 rounds, which is pretty crazy on when the average field is 70. But I think if he doesn't play well, that this is such a huge week for some of these younger, not unknown, but solidified or established kind of guys, right? Like I'm looking at definitely Keith Mitchell, Thomas Dietrich, who we've been seeing play well over the past few weeks, Hogard for sure, a guy that I've been harping on all year. I know my picks haven't played out yet, but this is golf. They're gonna, all right? You just got to kind of play it out. Emiliano Grillo has been one of the most consistent players on tour this year. His world golf ranking is 40, so he's one of the top guys in the field this week. I think this is a big opportunity for him to come in and do something and show that he is here to play.
I got Jake Knapp right now that I'm kind of looking at. I think when it comes to any sport at all, guys who are in contention for things are guys who find a way to continuously be in contention for things. I think the more you're in contention, the higher probability is. Team goes to Super Bowl. That team is more likely to go back to the Super Bowl once they've gotten to that point. There's just a mentality thing there. Guy's 23 of 26 when it comes to making the cut. So when he makes the cut, he's had 11 top 10s. So about 50% chance of top 10s, playing some pretty decent golf, was top 20 at Waste Management, third at Farmers. I think guys like that it doesn't matter what the course is at times. I think when you are consistently in contention like that in a top 10, you find ways to get there. And eventually you're just waiting for the moment to do it. And I think this is the week to do it. An American wins the Mexican Open.
Well, I mean, I think this is kind of the point in the year, too, where we are getting enough tournaments under our belt. Now it's go time and golf season as we swing to the East Coast. But the more these guys are playing, and the more that they're consistently playing well, I mean that's showing that their game is traveling, and that it really doesn't matter where they play. They are in control of what they got going on. And yeah, all it takes is 1 week.
I like Maverick McNeely here as well. He's been playing pretty well. I think he had a maybe T6 at Waste Management. So he's been playing pretty well. I think it's really, he's kind of sneaky with the driver, but his putting game is just elite. So if he can dial in those long approach shots, I think that he could be up near the top by the end of this week.
Absolutely. Let's get into some sleepers. Anybody got their eye on somebody outside that those top-ranked guys in the field this week? I know kind of a crapshoot outside Finau, Mitchell. Anybody in that kind of top 40? Who do we like, sleeper-wise?
I think Robert McIntyre is a good guy to look out for. If you look at the Ryder Cup, he played really well. He was somebody I had not heard of previously. That's the right guy, right? I'm thinking of the right guy. I'm not confused.
Who'd you say?
Robert McIntyre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at it, he played better than Højgaard at the Ryder Cup. He really carried his weight around, and all you hear about from those young guys is all about Ludwig and a little about Højgaard. I think he's going to look to kind of solidify himself as a younger guy from that Ryder Cup team as well. He's like, hey, he's got game too. You don't need to just kind of throw him under the bus and forget about him. Like, he's around. He may not play in all these PGA Tour events like they are, but he's still a really good player. At the end of the day, I think he's going to look to prove that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at, for my sleeper, I'm going Alejandro Tosti. Somebody's stolen from me in the draft this week, but he got 10th here last year. His last 5 starts, average driving distance 327, 63% of greens in regulation. I think he's another one of those guys that kind of a no-name to a lot of people, but he is one of these up-and-coming, I don't even know how old he is, honestly. Somebody will fact check that later, but
Yeah, I've never even heard of him before.
no, yeah, but he's been around
27.
in 27, yeah. I like him this week. I think that he's one of those guys that's kind of waiting to break through as well. We'll see what happens. Maybe he can get down to Mexico.
Yeah, for me, I would say Cameron Champ. Similar to you, you got stolen pretty quickly in the draft, but he has a T8 and a T6 here. So while he's not very well known out there in terms of like scoring well, just traditionally from 1 week to the next, for whatever reason, he has good, a good record here. So if he can get things going, who knows what happens.
Absolutely. We got anything else we want to cover before we get into the lock of the week? All right. Let's get into the lock of the weeks for this week. I'll kick things off here. I'm going with Keith Mitchell, top 10. Like we said, waiting for him to break through. I'd love to see him win, but I definitely think he plays well, and he's going to carry some confidence going into this East Coast swing. I like him to build off this and make a good run at a Players' Championship this year.
Keith Mitchell, top 5.
Keith Mitchell, top 5. We got Keith Mitchell, top 10, and a Keith Mitchell, top 5.
We're mixing our picks a little bit. This was unintentional, but I think that he's going to finish high this week. And I don't just think that because it's a lower-ranked field. I think he's, like I said earlier, he's kind of just got to do it. He just needs to get rolling now.
I just got a text from Keegan, and he's taking Keith Mitchell to miss the cut.
Oh, no.
Hey, that might play in y'all's favor if that's the case. I mean,
Well, that's true.
Homo didn't play great first round, but he battled back and played pretty well.
Yeah, he did. He did. Also viewed the Instagram post we put out there.
You think he went back and looked at it when he played like shit round 1?
I don't know if he did, because he just popped off on Twitter and started roasting a bunch of people's golf swings again. And honestly, I'm gonna send him a DM of Keegan's golf swing and tell him to roast that. That would be so funny. And see if he would.
That would be great.
I'll send him the Instagram reel and then say, hey, roast his swing.
Pick a
It's a good
shady
swing of the
day.
rose.
Pick a shady day for him. You
Yeah.
could use a shady day.
But you don't need the sunburn, Keegan. That might.
All right, who we
How
got
did he get
next?
so sunburnt, man? I don't get it.
Yeah, I'll go with Brandon Wu, top 10. Back-to-back years, he finished T2 and third at this event, and he's a name that he can definitely score low. He's been out there towards the top of the leaderboards in a couple of past events, so he's definitely striking it well. We'll see if he can get up there again make it 3 in a row.
Love to see it.
Yeah, give me Hogard top 10. The dude's just been so good this year. He's so good. It's hard not to pick him in a tournament like this. This is just kind of one of those things he's built for. I feel like that's when I first started noticing him. Can't think of what it would have been. That was just kind of a tournament like this where a lot of big names aren't playing, and he just took that and carried that right into some of these big tournaments the last few weeks. So he's on a tear right now. He's good. He's playing well.
I think this is such a good week to fade the favorite. I mean, if this year is going to stay continuous on what's happened so far, I mean, you only have one main guy that's top 25 in Finau. Obviously has the expectation to go out there and win with what's happened in the past 2 years. I think I'm on board with. I don't think he's going to get it done either. I think you're going to see a new winner on tour for the first time. It's going to be one of these younger guys that's trying to get going.
I was about to throw out real quick that he won't even get top 10, but then you popped in the back of my head and said 64 scoring average. So I said
64 scoring average. I mean,
so I like, unless he just lost his golf swing in a week, he's probably going to play pretty good. But
probably will. But like I said, great week to fade the favorite.
Well, you also have to think. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think he even gives a shit? Like, he doesn't need money. He doesn't have to win this tournament. He probably wants to lose it so he doesn't have to come back. I mean,
how classic would it be for him to get T2?
Yeah, that's almost worse than not getting top 10. For him, 6 strokes better than the field on your scoring average, and a T2 and a win, another T2, you might as well just not go.
Nah.
I feel like it's hard to say that he doesn't care. I mean, if the whole season,
Yeah, he definitely cares.
No, he cares. I'm just saying, like,
he has a whole
why
episode
should he?
of the Netflix documentary that's basically an absolute crybaby episode of, it's hard to take care of my family. It's so hard. My family, I can't provide for my family. Like he built an empire around, I don't have much money. It's so hard to raise my children, to not care about going and playing in a golf tournament that he gets, top 2 in every year.
Nobody made him have 6 kids, though.
No, well, I don't know.
I'm sure it's real hard to raise 6 kids being a millionaire.
Yeah, I think they're doing pretty good. They were out at the club last year, and he had his kids' team with him. They're all dripped out in the Nike J golf shoes.
Poor
so I think
kids,
they're probably doing fine.
Poor kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Should be another fun week getting into the sweet spot of the PGA Tour season. Can't wait for the new format. It's going to be a blast. I'm already way more pumped about the draft process. I love that we all have one guy. How big last week to have Hideki and Zalatoris get first and second, and that's like
it wasn't Zalatoris, I had Cantley, but still, yeah.
Oh, that's what it was.
And Hideki was my, I guess, 4th pick, so
yeah,
that was definitely huge, yeah.
But stuff like that, when you have a guy win and get T2, T3 like that, that's when you'll you won't probably slide outside of third or fourth so. Now.
And I did.
Man's got like a 600-point lead.
Yeah, and it helped me last week too. I mean, speaking of Finau, he hit a putt on 18 to get to 6 under, and then I had Adam Scott also who chipped in on 18 on the final round to get to 6 under. So everyone I had besides I guess Tom Kim, I mean everyone was actually including Tom Kim. I had T25 and under. So with 2 in the top 10 or 2 in the top 5, I mean that definitely helps, and a winner obviously.
Yeah.
Thank God that was a trial run, because we would all be in a hole I don't think we could dig ourselves out of the gate.
I mean, not
honestly.
necessarily. Hey. Whoever wins each week is going to get at least, for the signature events, going to get 700 points. So
yeah, I know, but
well, right, but there's no guaranteed win. There's so many people out there that aren't picked, and so you won't this was the first picked winner so far.
True.
Of the league. So congrats, the one that didn't count.
You're in history. You're in the history
Yeah,
books.
go out there for 1,200 points or a little more than that. And
Yeah,
it's all good.
He's about to
that's
put up
all
a
right.
Robbie performance, 95 points this week.
No,
Well, I can't come in last again, so hopefully.
It's your show. You
Hey
can't
man,
keep doing this.
it's golf. It's the tour. Like what am I supposed to do? I'm looking at stats. I'm doing research. I'm doing all this bullshit. I'm just gonna stop thinking. I'm just
You're
gonna
doing
start
too much.
drafting people now. That's what I did
I'm
this
here
week. No
for
prep,
the beginning now. So
no prep,
game over.
no stats, just drafted.
oh, you've got Keith Mitchell this week, right?
I got Keith.
All right, well,
I need Keith to be my savior here.
I hope that pays off for you.
Me too.
Wait till Rodolfo Casabon.
All right, gents. Good show. I hope he does. I hope he does. Good show. Good week. Thank y'all for coming on, and we'll see y'all next week. Love you guys.
Peace.